This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
All right. How you feeling, man? You feeling good?
I'm good, man. I heard the intro. I want to apologize for being late. I'm not drinking Cuban coffee today. I tried to sneak in a shower after my workout, so I was right on the borderline of my time. And I'm like,
I think I'm seeing un pastel de guayaba back there or something.
No Cuban coffee for me. Although I need some. I've been up since 6 a.m. because my daughter wouldn't sleep. But no Cuban coffee for me.
All right.
But yeah, my apologies. I was a few minutes late. I was trying to get a workout in the shower in. So
sorry, we've influenced your ass here in South Florida for sure, boy. Your ass fits perfectly here in South Florida now. That's for sure, because you have taken our thing. You know, that's impressive. But you're doing it in honor, so I like that. I like that. It was in honor of the Cuban population.
I have nothing but respect from the Cuban population. I've learned a lot about Cuban folk since I've lived in Miami the last 5.5 years, and so
there you go. So just so you know, Cuban folks, there you go. In honor,
but I will say, black folk in general have that stereotype too. So,
Omar used to say the same thing. Yeah, Omar.
They call it CP time, colored people time. Is what the old expression is, and so I try not to feed in that stereotype. But today, I should have just came on straight from the workout and skipped the shower until after.
No, you're good, bro. You're good. The beauty of digital is we are flexible here, bro. I never worry about that shit. You know that. That's not something I ever get flustered about or anything like that. All right. So who's going to be the focus tonight on Hard Knocks?
You will be coming into the Jets game. I think that the focus is probably going to be a lot on Tua and Mike. I think that they're going to look at them after that loss to the Titans and see how the quarterback and the coach respond. And so I wouldn't be surprised if you see a little extra Bradley Chubb attention after the slammed helmet, and then he turns it into the big game. And so I think that he will be a main secondary character where you'll see a lot on him. But I do think you'll see a lot of the Mike speech. How does Mike get the team back up after a big loss, and what does Tua do as well? So if I was picking the show, I'd probably say it focuses on Mike, Tua, and Bradley Chubb. That's the three people circle for the show.
I'd be interested to see, because Chubb talked about how he apologized to his teammates. I wonder if they caught that on film. Him apologizing to his teammates about, the fracas last week.
Yeah, I'm sure he did, because I don't know if you saw, I did an interview with Bradley Chubb after the game. He's been very very accepting. Some people kind of run away from it and say, no, he's like, hey, he's owned it. He's like, hey, I screwed up. It was that was just a bonehead decision, and I had to make up for it, and he did the very next game. Probably the best game of his career. And so I'm sure they'll catch what he said to them. I'm curious if, for that type of situation with a vet, does your coach get on you, or does coach already know that you're wrong and just kind of lets you do your own deal? I'm curious all the behind the scenes there.
This coach knows this player knows this coach. That's one those kind. I think that's the part that sometimes is misunderstood about NFL teams and coaches. The screaming might be there, but it's not always there. Sometimes with veterans, the last thing you do is scream at a veteran. It's basically a look, and the veteran's going to look at you going, yeah, I know I screwed up. And that's it. It's just like there's, you're not going to get anywhere beating a dead horse at the moment. Veterans already know, real pros own to their, what he's done. They own up to it right away, and they're already ahead of you in trying to correct where they screwed up. You know what I mean? And the coaches like Fangio don't have to ride a Chubb. They may have to ride Cam Smith because he's young. They may have to go ride Cam Good because he's young. But, Agba or guys, when they screw up, they know it, dude. They know it. There's no reason to go out there and get into some shouting contest with them. That doesn't get anywhere with some of these guys.
Yeah, I think that you have to know how to motivate different players, right? Yeah. Certain guys, you got to get on them. They need the hard coaching. Certain guys, you build them up through affirmation, and certain guys, you let them beat them own selves up to an extent and see how they respond. And so the great coaches know how each of their players respond best. Just like we're all different learners, right? Some people learn more visual, vocal. It's just kind of how we do things differently. I think it's the same for players. And so Bradley clearly took it on himself. He took I'm sure he heard the criticism, the critiques about him being stupid and essentially losing that game from fans. And I thought it probably was overblown. He wasn't the reason they lost that game. It was a mistake, but there was more than that. But I think it was the perfect response at the perfect time. And for the defense to be the face of this win, like I know that Jaylen Waddle had an amazing day. Rheaume broke some records. Tua completed 80-70% of his passes. That was a defensive show. You're shutting out a team for the first time in nearly 4 seasons, shutting out anybody for the first time in nearly 4 seasons, holding them to about 100 roughly yards and sacking them as many times as they did. Brandon Jones, 2 picks. Defense kind of responded after that collapse. And so I think that all those guys probably looked themselves in the mirror and said, hey, that one's on us. What are we going to do about it?
For me this week, it wasn't about the players. I wasn't worried so much about the players. It was more about Mike McDaniel for me. That's what this month is. Not this past week, you're supposed to win. So I'm not impressed by it at all, by any stretch. You're supposed to beat the Jets. They literally have no offense. So you took care of business. I'm glad. But what I really liked out of Mike McDaniel this past week, and I need to see more of it, is that once Tyreek gets back, the Tyreek dependency dials back a little bit. Mm-hmm. The difficulty of the offense with Tyreek in it dials back a little bit, whether it's the motion stuff that you are constantly picking up penalties in, whether it's forcing it to Tyreek in windows that are so tight that you're making it harder for your quarterback, or fade patterns to midget receivers, use the bigger receivers, winning challenges, getting plays in on time, all the little things, situational running this past week. It was beautiful. He stuck with it on that 3rd down and inside the 5 and gave it to Mostert again, and he scored on that 3rd one. There were things that habitually I want him to pick up from this game and now use it in these big games coming up. I want him to kiss. I want him to keep it simple, stupid, sometimes. You don't have to complicate things that much. Sometimes you can just basically line up and punch somebody in the mouth. You know what I mean? You don't have to have a ton of motion. Sometimes you can use Tyreek as a decoy more than just as the whole thing. Spread the ball around. 8 guys got the ball. That to me, I need Mike McDaniel to kind of tweak it and become more of a head coach now than a play designer.
So my biggest takeaway of the offense was how they were proficient without Tyreek. And I think you hit it on the nail with a lot of those elements there. I think what was interesting, like we listened to Rheaume after the game, and he kind of shared that Jaylen Waddle was like beating himself up because he thought he should have been a bigger contributor to the offense at this stage of the season. And like see him have that type of game was good for his confidence. And so much we don't think about those innuendos because it's like you have such high expectations. And Waddle, to be fair, has dropped some passes this year. He hasn't been the typical player. And so you look at it from that frame of like, why isn't Waddle close to Tyreek? Because why is there such, because the first year they were there, you forget they were almost neck and neck. Although Tyreek was still the leading receiver, Waddle was like, it was like him or him. Like it wasn't that much of a difference. This year we're seeing a drastic difference because Tyreek's, on pace for 2,000 and Waddle is having some up and down games. And so like to see Waddle break out and show like I still got this in me, to see Tua without Tyreek, because I know you believe though, but there were some legit questions because we have never seen Tua without Tyreek in this Mike McDaniel offense. And we saw 2 quarters of it against the Titans and it looked awful. And so there was a legit concern of like, can these guys function even without Tyreek, right? And so for
watching him against Baltimore 2 years ago under sorry ass Brian Flores.
Right. But I'm saying what the conversation was coming into the game.
Guy,
right?
got the goods, bro. Come on.
That's what I said. I said you believe. I started with saying you believe, but not everyone did. Not everyone did. And so to see the actuality and to be real about it, Tua even said it. Tua even said after game, he said it was either going to go one way or the other. We didn't really know. It was either going to go where we looked like we did against the Titans without Tyreek, or we found a way to make it work. And so even he had a little bit of apprehensive of what version of this offense are we going to see. And so you hope that that builds Waddle's confidence. That builds Tua's confidence even more. That helps the rest of the group to say, hey, even if Tyreek is banged up a little bit because he's been nicked here and there throughout the season, that we can still function as an offense. And ideally,
and by the way, just a caveat to all of this, it's not just a Waddle thing. You're making everybody else run routes for almost no reason at all, dude.
Yep.
And you know what? You got to spread the love, dude. You got to give Craycraft some love. He was very productive for this team last year, and why he's not being used more, I don't really understand that. You can't figure out ways to include, which maybe there was a sign this week where Claypool and Cedric, maybe there's a start of something coming here. I don't know, but you got to start. You got to get the tight ends involved. Smythe made a couple plays. Use the running backs. Spread the ball around a little bit. It can't be all Tyreek. And it puts so much of a burden on the quarterback and the receiver that it's just all that all the time. And it's a lot easier for defenses than to focus in on the Dolphins that way.
Absolutely. I think what it also does is it gives you some hesitation as a defense. Because as a defense, I talk to defenses every week when I cover a Dolphins game, and they literally all say the same thing. We can't get obsessed with Tyreek's motion. We're going to have to give him extra eyes. Like everything is based off the idea of, okay, if we do this against Tyreek, we can be successful. But what happens in the playoffs if you do find a way, which is hard? I'm not saying it's an easy thing. If you do find a way to stop Tyreek, but then the Dolphins still can beat you elsewhere. That's what I thought about this offense, especially in the first half of the season, made them extremely dangerous because with Raheem Mostert and Devon Achane particularly, that gave them a different dimension that even if Tyreek had 3 catches for 22 yards, they could still put up 30 points, which did not seem imaginable at certain stages. Now, for the last month, I questioned whether we still had that element, because if you told me, hey, Tyreek's stat line was 3 catches, 22 yards, I'm probably going to say the Dolphins offense struggled. Yesterday was a glimpse of they can still be a 30-point team without Tyreek going off because he didn't even play. And so you're obviously going to have Tyreek, but I think the fact that your offense can function, the running backs in particular, because they didn't have a great game yesterday, but the fact that McDaniel trusted them, kept running them the ball, especially in the red zone with Rheaume, showed defenses that, hey, even when things are going to get tough, we're still going to count on our other guys outside of Tyreek, our Rheaumes, our Achans, our Waddles, our Craycrafts, and Smythe. Smythe had a pretty good game, probably the best game of a tight end I saw for the Dolphins all season. And so those are the things that make you more diverse as an offense and make defenses hesitate.
And you brought it up now in passing, but to me, that's what I was most impressed with in the game. You had an entire backup offensive line, and they held up against a very good New York Jets front.
It's a good defense.
I was very proud of those guys, and you could tell this coaching staff from front office, they could never field 5 guys.
No,
now they field 10 guys nowadays.
Yeah. Butch Berry deserves a lot of credit because he's having a heck of a season with this O-line. They've changed every bit of the way. I think there's 10 different combinations now in 14 games. And so if there was a offensive line coach of the year award, I'd say that Butch Berry has to be at the forefront of that. He's done an excellent job. And I'll say this, I know fans give a lot of flack to, your Liam Eichenbergs, But like for Liam to fight through a calf injury, which looked pretty severe, like he left the game with the walking boot on. That's how significant it was, because he's clearly like still limited. For him to play along with a Teron Armstead, who fans have given a lot of flack because he's not stayed healthy a bunch, and it's like, oh, it's the jokes come. Oh, Teron's hurt again. How long is he? But Teron's fighting through another injury playing. Austin Jackson fighting through an injury that, he didn't finish the game, but he's trying to fight through. That's a toughness that you want from your offensive line, and they showed it. And so for a group that's been much maligned the last 2 years before this, they have shown their ability to play well and play through adversity. And so I think that group deserves a lot of credit.
Yeah, man. To me, I was really, really impressed with that. All right, injury-wise, what's your guess this week? Who comes back?
Yeah, I think you'll get Tyreek back. I think I was on the field watching, and he was very close to going. Like to the point where I thought his routes looked very much like Tyreek, and I was surprised when they said he was inactive. Just kind of given what I saw in pregame workouts, it seems like they were being cautious. The decision was, hey, we can take Tyreek at 80% maybe, and he may never be 100% for the rest of the season, or we could try to get him closer, and maybe it increases his percentage for the rest of the season. So it was a little bit of a long play cautious-wise, and it worked out because they blew the Jets out. So I think you'll see Tyreek. He may not practice on Wednesday, but I think you'll see him practice at some point Thursday or Friday, and I think you'll see him play on Sunday. As far as the offensive line, you'll see Teron, you'll see Liam. Austin's going to be an interesting one because he does have an oblique. Mike McDaniel said it's not as bad as Jalen Phillips, but he may be a guy who, given you have a long season ahead, I wouldn't be surprised if he misses this game. Javon Holland, that's one that may take some time. He may not be back this week. Like I reported in pregame that he's got MCL injuries on both of those knees, and it's taking longer than he anticipated. He wants to be back, but the worry is you don't want to overdo it and then ruin your season, and you're out for the season. And so he's not, from what I understood, he wasn't close to going Sunday. He wasn't one of the pregame workout guys like Xavier and Tyreek were iffy either way. He was already known he was going to be out when he arrived for the game. And so that makes me think that he's going to be a little bit further away, and maybe he's questionable again, and maybe on the other side of questionable if he's not ready to go. Robert Hunt as well. He's coming back from that quad. Since he just had a setback, I think they're going to be really cautious with him. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's another week for him as well. I don't know if I missed anybody else. Elliott should be coming out of the protocol soon, so I think he'll be back for this week. Deshaun Elliott. Who else did I miss?
I know Austin Jackson's the only one that we wouldn't know because he just got injured with the oblique.
The oblique. So yeah, the oblique. The Mike McDaniel said it wasn't as bad as the one that kept out Jalen Phillips, I think 3 or 4 games. But those obliques are kind of like hamstrings. They're soft tissue injuries, and even if you feel good, you want to be 100% on that thing because it can linger. And so I'd imagine that they take some time with that one. Just my kind of educated guess there.
All right. Follow him on Twitter at Cameron Wolfe. Catch his work there at the NFL Network. Cam, as always, what are you working on there in the NFL Network so folks can check you out?
Yeah, I'm going to be on today. I'm actually talking some Dolphins Cowboys. And so we'll be on the Insiders. It runs 12:15 on NFL Plus, and it'll be 1:15 on NFL Network. So talk a little bit about that game, and should be a big one. I'll be there on Sunday. I'll be there Christmas Eve on the sidelines for that game, and Thursday and Friday I'll also be talking some NFL Network ball of this Cowboys-Dolphins game. So should be a fun week.
All right. I'll be with the pig at home calling the pre-post, and it's Noche Buena for us, bro.
Absolutely. No, I hear you. Well, you get your good eat in, good drink in. I'm a little bummed, I'm always blessed to do this job, but I got family in town, and the way the 4:25 time is set up, we're still going to have our show from 9 to 1. So I'm going to be at the stadium at 8 a.m. And the game is not going to be over until probably 8:39, maybe 8 o'clock. I'm probably not going to get home till 9:30. And so my whole Christmas Eve is going to be up at Dolphins Stadium, which, fans are saying, oh, well, that's great. I want my whole Christmas Eve there. I do enjoy what I do. But, I'm going to miss that family time. I'm glad I'll be back before the midnight bell hits. And
have you experienced the Noche Buena Cuban style?
I haven't. So we do it a little different. My wife cooks gumbo, every Christmas or Christmas Eve. So I'll probably have a bowl of gumbo waiting for me when I get back home. But I've not done the South Florida Christmas Eve. So I'll have to try that one year.
You got to do that one time, bro.
Yeah.
Got hachina and everything with the pig. Oh, baby. You got
definitely want to try that.
All right, Cam. Good stuff. We'll catch up later in the week, my friend. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, man.
You got it. All right, KSDT, baby. They got offices, Dade, Broward, Palm Beach County, and in North Carolina. They in Charlotte, North Carolina. And they're hiring in all 4 of those offices. Tax, advisory, assurance, accounting. They do it all. Business taxes, folks. Whether it's year-end tax planning, where we're at now, payroll, sales, state, local consulting. They can help you out. Estate and trust taxes, business valuation. If we're talking about individual and family tax, they can handle all of that, from estate, gift tax planning. They do it all, folks. I'm telling you, they, from beginning to end, personal or business, and they can help you guide your business along the way. Payroll. You want to also kind of see how the market is going and what is happening down the line. They're experts, man. They know they know, or well, as best as you can, because nobody's ever perfect, but they are fantastic at helping you plan on what's coming up and what's going to affect your bottom dollar. So please reach out to the people at KSDT CPAs. They're going to help you with your business and grow. Even if you need to sell it and you want to find out what is my business worth, KSDT CPAs can tell you exactly what your business is worth, so you can get every single dollar that you deserve and you've earned since you've built that business up. Call the folks at KSDT, whether you're looking to hire them for their services or you are looking to get hired. 305-670-3370. Please use that QR code right there. Tell them that Big O sent you. KSDT CPAs.
This is the Big O Show. This is the